Okay, so today I'll continue the series. I guess it makes the intros less exciting because it's pretty obvious already what we're going to do. But we're hitting a bit of a rut around rank 31 because just simply hitting rank 30, now you're starting to lose stars every time you lose a game, which makes it virtually impossible. And in fact, not even just that, but the fact that we also lose the win streak. I feel like that shouldn't happen until like rank 40. You know, how is the win streak abuser degenerate like me supposed to do this when, you know, even in Hearthstone or other games I tend to do that. What's weird is we ended up getting this in my collection already, so I don't know if that was a bug or if it just gave it to everybody. I didn't buy it. I didn't even have enough gems to buy it. So what I'll do next time, next episode tomorrow, I will try to rebuild some of these decks because like I'm hitting a wall where I won't blame the decks, and I've shown with these decks that they can be pretty good, but I'll just go in fresh and I'll make new ones just to sort of see if there's something maybe I'm missing or something more I can do. But that's a bit of the fallacy that people might approach this with, that, oh, maybe I made a little misplay here, but it wouldn't have mattered. Like, it doesn't mean that I would have gotten to rank 50, right? Even if I play it perfectly, which a lot of the time I feel like I do honestly play it pretty well, at least with the theme that I'm, you know, going for full aggro, so it's okay to Berry Blast the face on turn 2 if that's the best that I have in my hand. Ideally, you wouldn't have that. Or even people say, oh, you could have built it a little differently. But the way that people would suggest to build, right, is a case of, you know, oh, you should have more sport zombies, or you should have more pet zombies, or whatever, right? Like some sort of synergy. But it's not up to me what I have because my collection is so hodgepodge and incomplete, even though I do have some good cards in there. So like, maybe I want, though, yeah, you should have this card, you should have the zucchini, you should have the whatever zombot. But if I don't have it, I don't have it. So what am I supposed to do with that? So I won't even worry about opening the packs here. I'll save that for next time. Yeah, I don't know how I got that. It almost makes it feel like I shouldn't be allowed to use it because it feels like a bug or something. If they just gave it to everybody, then why was it even on the event card thing, like where you could spend 500 for it or whatever? So he's struggling to get to rank 50 a little bit, but I mean, he's still ahead of the curve. It looks like everybody else isn't even trying to get there, so... But yeah, that's my only hope. Maybe I'll get something really good from some of these packs, or maybe I'll rebuild. And what this format sort of also makes me want to do is it kind of makes me want to abandon my overall schedule, because even though I wouldn't do it for this game, this is just for this month, obviously, and then it's over one way or the other, right? Whether I succeed or fail at the challenge, I'm going to stop playing. But it just makes me feel like I like having this more freed up schedule where it's like I can just do whatever I want. So pretend like after this, I'll just abandon the rest of my schedule. And I'll do, well, basically I'll do Magic the Gathering, first of all, try to get to Mythic, or I have to delete my account or move on to Magic Online. But I almost want to just abandon the schedule overall and just be like, any day I want, I can just play whatever I want, just sort of randomly. And that's what I would do in the past. So it sort of tempts me to do that. And as usual, I forget who I just played as. And so I have to go and I have to check my VOD here, which is annoying. I can never remember to do that for the life of me. So it just takes a second here. At least I sort of figured out how to do the, what do you call it? Sort of fix the black bar issue, I guess. Yes, even yesterday, I didn't even do it for very long. I did like a 30-minute episode, so despite how fast-paced this game can be, it still has an issue with respect to, we're seeing an ad for like that Smile movie, but I thought that's been out for a long time. Oh, Smile 2, what a surprise. I could, you know, that was one form of content that, since I used to review movies and stuff, I could totally do on stream. I won't show the movie, but I could just do it, like, you know, timestamp match and just react to a movie like that. Sort of like a watch party type environment. They can't really say you can't do that because you're not even showing it. Or like maybe there was some, oh, it has to be on an Amazon streaming service or something. So we lost his green shadow, evidently. Lost his green shadow. You would think it's the last one that's selected would be the one that I would have lost as, but I'm not 100% sure all the time. So the smash... I mean, the fact that I'm 0 out of 5 stars would show you that I must have just obviously lost, otherwise... So we lost to Rose using some ice type shit. Something really weird happened last session too, like where I wasn't having any luck at all, just like... You know, usually I'm winning a couple here and there, but I was just getting destroyed. Or not even that session, but the session before. Because last session was too short. We lost as a smash when we lost his green shadow. So now we go to Super Brains, which will be all about Bad Moon Rising. Yeah, just tomorrow's episode, I'll try to build some decks from scratch and see if I can come up with something a little different as we hit past the halfway point, both in terms of the season. We only have like 13, 12 days left, whatever. It starts to tell you once you get close, but it's around the 15th. And we're also at the halfway point, over the halfway point in terms of the rank. So I'm not actually too far behind, but the problem that I'm going to run into is I'm going to run into the simple fact, you know, I'll still keep it. I don't even care. But the problem that I'm going to run into is the simple reality that I have to go like 2 ranks a day, which doesn't seem that intimidating at all. Like, oh, 2 ranks is nothing, but I'm clearly not able to do it right now, right? I'm not getting anything. Bro thinks he's me with that, but again, you might think that's a dumb play, and you might think it's a bot even, but it might just be that he realizes his own mortality, like, oh, he's an aggro deck too. It's actually a pretty valuable principle, and it applies in this game way more than most, because if I'm going in there, it's like my deck is aggro. It's like, oh, I shouldn't use Berry Blast on the face on turn 2. But if I don't have another 2-cost card in my hand, which that itself is a deficiency of the deck or whatever, like I should always be able to have that. But if I don't do that, I wasted a turn and I played nothing, and now I'm never going to win because I can't afford to do that, right? That's the pace issue. With this deck is different, obviously. I just have to make sure I have a good board out there. I mean, Bad Moon Rising was worth the wait, too. I waited like a year for it, ironically, because I started playing the game right around when that was up for an event card, and I was like, I didn't have enough gems or whatever because I just didn't have that, you know, 500 on hand, so I had no way of getting it. I was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, and then I want it so badly after that, then I had to wait till now, and I used that basically as the benchmark to when we would start this challenge. Just not as soon as I got that, but after I got that. And it never lets me down once I actually get to be able to play it, but it's just, you know, it's so rare that I actually do get to play it. Yeah, bro is already done. But again, I'm not going to question the ability that goes into that. I'm just saying, like, clearly I might have some deficiencies with what I can do. In fact, even the smart thing to do would be to abandon the no crafting issue and say, well, I'll just disenchant every card, fertilize every card, whatever it's called, for everybody, every class except for one. Like, let's say I just focus on combustible only, and I make like the best aggro deck possible in the game, right? So that would show you right there what you're meant to be. In other words, disenchant every legendary, every card with every class, every hero except for one, and make the best possible deck you can with that one. And then I would have enough to make probably a rank 50 caliber deck, and I would just play that one over and over, but that would be no fun. That would be too I don't even like that environment card, the little brain thing. Like, I get that you're sort of ramping to Bad Moon Rising, but it's just not. Although the brain vendor has been incredibly good value. Dude, I've had so many fun interactions with that. It's almost like an Exodia. It's one of the funniest things that you could have happen, which I haven't had to happen quite that way, but like you play 4 brain vendors on the same turn. It's turn 7 and your board is empty and their board is full, and it's like, oh, he has no chance of winning. And then I do like some fucking Exodia crazy turn where I play 4 brain vendors and Bad Moon Rising on the same turn with only 7 brains, right? And you can mathematically do that. Like, it's so stupid the way that works. Like, that's such a funny, satisfying thing. Move a zombie does bonus attack. You are meant to play on the board to the extent that, you know, you're able to. It seems like a waste, but again, what I really hate is that the turns where you don't do anything. It feels like it's too slow of a pace in the game. I'm a very curved type of player, and so that's okay. Or even in an environment would have worked. I guess I'm not used to that aspect of it, so that might have been better, but it doesn't matter. I can do that with something else. And again, it makes you question, why do I have a card like this? Clearly, I'm gunning for rank 50 with Drum Major in my deck. Said nobody ever in the history of the fucking game, even in an earlier state. Like, why would you ever have that? So it won't get the grave bonus effect here. And some of the cards I have in here were maybe just because, oh, I had just gotten that card. It's new to me, so I wanted to use it because of that. Not always because I even think it's best, but most of what I have here is not going to be best anyway, so. Or see, even that in itself is a misplay because I'm trying to not go phase. Well, see, if I had played it there, he would have just fucking killed it anyway. You are trying to play on the board here a bit more than what I'm doing. That was so delayed. Like, it took like 5 seconds for the thing to trigger. That's a random zombie. Okay. You know, I just need like a removal card for this. Otherwise, I can't do anything. They are pretty low, but I might even get one from this. Well, I'd really be better served just saving that because I might need to give something deadly here now to do this. Or wait a second. You would need to do like... Let me do it like this. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. No. Wait, I was gonna put something there and give it deadly. I don't know what I just did. Oh, I'm just dead mathematically no matter what. Or no, the chicken fucking saved my dumb ass. Because now I'm probably still dead, but... Or no. Now I can do what I was planning to do. But how would I have known that he was going to do that anyway? So now it's all good. Okay, I'm fucking up already, but... That'll still survive. I'll still survive because of this deadly... I don't know what I was doing math. Like, I thought I had another one cost thing and something. Okay, so you can play this. You can play this as well. And you can also play... You can also play this, and this would trade in, and the 4/4 is not going to die. He's pretty much going to die. Maybe sometimes I'm playing like overly defensive where, you know, like I am playing on the board too much where sometimes I shouldn't. I should go for the kill once they get so low and they have so few cards, but if I get Bad Moon Rising, that would be the whole point, that I can, you know, take advantage of it, even in this situation. No, maybe not quite, but... You know, I could sort of slow pace them with this and think that, oh, I'm going to win, but it's like, I don't know how to exactly play this. Right, they could win because of the block meter. They could just play something on the grave place. Like, I don't know. It depends what they have. I guess they don't have very much. And of course, the effect of this is just you gain 1 attack. This is a very recent card that I was fortunate enough to have gotten, so I can't complain too much about it. Now what you could do is you could be very cheeky and sneaky about it, because what you're going to do is you're going to lift his shit up, and if you lift his shit up, then whatever he does, you won't expect it, and so he should die for that reason. Oh! Bro. Now I could still get saved by the block meter, but of course, the one thing that could possibly... You top deck Dark Matter Dragon Fruit. What are you, Kaiba with blue eyes? Like, you fucking... The one thing that you could do to... Bro, what the fuck is going on with this game, man? Think about what just happened. That's like a Kriparian moment. Like, I'm planning that perfectly. That, oh, whatever he does, I can lift it up. Like, how am I supposed to expect that he's going to get that right then? What the fuck, man? Alright, Solar Flare, come out here, you dumb bitch. And this is how deflating it is. It's like, again, it's not that I can't win, but I can't win every game at a rate that you would have to do in order to... And I've been getting fucked on mulligans a lot, too. Like, it's like, yeah, here's the Berry Blast turn 2 that I was talking about. Why is it that you're able to... I'm not getting low-cost cards, even though I have so many in here. In fact, that's the whole basis of the deck. I am baffled by that aspect of this whole experience. I have a number of 2-cost cards, but whatever, I'll try to... This thing is potentially bad sometimes, but... Now he'll absorb a little shit here, but yeah, the randomness of the block meter has really triggered me too. He's setting up for some big long-term shit that he's doing, but it doesn't matter because... You can obviously... Okay, dude. The reality is that... It's not like my board is very good anyway, but... You can go like this. Right, the sun aspect isn't going to be too good, so that'll be a 4 attack thing. You can still rush him down despite whatever shenanigans... Okay. Okay. There's this feeling that like you just can't do anything a lot of the time. That's the issue that I have sometimes in this game. You can't do anything. And so because you can't do anything, you kind of just sit there and they just react to whatever you do, which can happen in any card game to be fair, but it's just moves to a random lane. Okay. So here we are just meant to go face all the way. And so we could do like some AoE with this. If the zombie here gain teleport, transform a zombie into one that costs 1 more, which is not really all that much. And so you have the simple ability to I mean, that's kind of fun, at least, like an evolution mechanic. I can replace one of them, and I could almost kill one of them, but make hot lava here. It would be pretty worth it to do that because you don't want... or wait a second, that's something else. You may play zombie when it's time for tricks. I don't think I care about that as much. Or maybe I don't care, I don't know. +1 for each sun you made this turn. So shouldn't that still trade in pretty adequately? Environment is played. That's okay. Even there, I shouldn't really do it like that. I should have almost done the opposite because I'm just, again, trying to go face. But it wouldn't have mattered, I guess, because there is no such way to go face. It's still an efficient trade, but I just don't see the winning path here. It's going to be way too slow. Strike through is obviously very good. At least if he got to a low point here, we could do something, but the teleport thing doesn't really bother me. This is what I want to deal with. Make a hot lava here. As much as I would like to do that, it feels like a waste, so I don't know. I don't know what the fuck the point of that is. They're still low enough, like where you could maybe finish them off with the strike through here. He's ranked 36. Some of these people I'm going to end up having played many times over, you know, same people over and over because they're so, like, why would he even make a play like that when, well, I guess because it carries him that way, but like, you'd think he would play the stronger thing in one of these 2 lanes. Rather than in the water, that's no threat to him. It's not like he's going to rush me down before. That worked out pretty well. -2, -2. Or he'll still get the fucking dinky thing, won't he? That maybe wasn't the best idea. I mean, I can't really avoid it. I could do this plus this. My own fucking hot lava is messing me up. Or I guess not. Or fuck. That doesn't actually have team up, though. I guess I'll just do it, or I even misplayed it there where I should have done it first. I'm just getting kind of impatient now because everything's kind of triggering me, but whatever, dude. Like, I can win some of these games, but I'm never gonna... Okay, there we go. That's the kind of bad... At least I get to see an epic Badman Rising, even if it's not my own. Like, what are the chances he's gonna lose here? That's all you have to do, but I can't fill up the board that well. You know, the way that... Strike through still would have done good, but he has to absorb that too, even with 3 ticks left on the block meter itself. Like, what the fuck, dude? It's okay to lose at this stage, at least, because we're not losing ranks. But the issue is that we're able to, what do you call it? All right, let's see what we can do. I'll go through like 1 rotation through, well, I guess we're already there. I'll go through Yeti and something first. You have 2, 2, 4, 5. I don't even mind that. Because again, the assumption is you're going to get a lot of low cost cards anyway, but maybe that's not a good way to look at it. Right, like most of what we have is low cost, so I don't see why. Sometimes I would even be tempted to do this just for the card draw, as I hate wasting and passing turns. Just as a general concept, but it might not be that urgent here. I usually am not getting the value on this. Yeah, just go ahead and disconnect. Those are the only wins I fucking am gonna get consistently now. So I'd have to have somebody fucking it wouldn't be that hard to do maybe, because again, you could just queue up at the same time and stuff. Over and over. Not that I would do it that way. Okay, hurry up. Rank 28. I mean, if you look at the ratio of my wins here, my win-loss ratio has been so bad in terms of, you know, it's unbelievable that I've even gotten this far, but that's because you could sort of abuse the win streaks and everything. In a realistic setting, there's no way I could have done this because, you know, you're not able to... You could still do this, which is kind of worth it. Again, we're not doing that so much for board control, but we will get the 2 damage into the face, which is far more valuable with another aggro deck. So you go here, it'll summon one in the water. If he kills it, then I can do this. Buff them both. You'll use the stupid ass banana bomb to do it, or it's just some stupid banana meme deck that he's doing, but it doesn't matter because of the simple fact that, I don't know, usually decks like this are not really going to be that good, but what do I know? You could do this kind of anyway, but I'll just do that. This guy has one of the coolest appearances ever, too. Just the way the rod lights up and the fucking whole vibe of it. The little doctor on the back is very amusing. That's exactly as planned, because now we can do this. We can do this, we can do this, we can use this as fodder for one of those as well. You maybe have some vague sense of lethal here, except for the block meter, which means that's really what ends up happening, is I end up sort of giving up even looking for lethal. That happened to me earlier on in the playthrough. Like, I would never even look for it because it's like, oh, the block meter's always going to save them, so don't even bother. And to be fair, it's not even up to you. Like, I could hit him, let's say he had 1 HP here, I could hit him and it could give him 1 tick, meaning I would kill him, or it could give him 2, so it has nothing to do with me. So how can I plan for that? There's no way to know, right? And if it's the difference between winning and losing, you know, we both have 2 ticks left and we both have lethal, so I go for lethal, they absorb it, they go for lethal, I don't absorb it, and so it's the same scenario, but what the fuck, dude? And that's how RNG Fiesta Clown Show this game can be. That element of the game is actually fucking cancer. There's no reason why it should work like that. Even if you like the core idea behind it, which is sort of rewarding you for losing, like, oh yes, I'm getting rewarded for taking damage, as if that's a good thing. I mean, it just makes no sense, dude. This dude I like a lot, which I don't have, obviously. I've just gotten it from some other shit. I've gotten it from some other Discover type effects. It just takes so long, man. I don't have the time to do this, but tomorrow I'll try to rebuild and we'll go in for our final phase and see what I can do. Maybe we'll finally try to do a disgusting act with a repeat moss, but I only have 1 repeat moss, I think, and it's not going to be the best anyway. You could either give them deadly, or you could give them, you could do the 4 damage here, either of which could be very valuable. And so what you have is, you could do the 4 with this, then you're going to do the 4 with this, and that would kill you. Okay. Man, they always have an answer for everything. Even then. Now, would the bullseye count because he's being used? That's actually interesting to think about. He has bullseye, but the damage effect itself doesn't have bullseye, so it didn't count, actually. We do actually win that, so a little frustrating, but he's a rank 28 and I beat him, and it was not easy, and I was very tight actually towards the end, but that's all it takes, because it's like, that always shows you can do it. It's just, can I do that consistently 5 games in a row? And the answer is fuck no. Evidently, but we just have to do it for stretches. We have 1. Get rid of all the 4s. Okay, that's a beautiful hand. We could do this first. Sometimes I like to do it... you know, I'd rather do it with a guaranteed bonus, though. And the reason why is, like, I'll go here and then I'll summon 2 of those. And that would be a beautiful, you know, 3/3 guarantee. this mechanic was so insular in the PvZ games themselves. Like, oh, this plant that only works on the roof, like, or that's only meant for that. It felt very weird. Let's go here, go here. And again, you might say effects like this almost shouldn't count like that when you're doing it from a trick, but you're able to still, okay. But you're able to still benefit from it anyway, so. Some other low viewer streamer was actually playing this today, because when you go to the category, it shows you like, oh, 2 people watching. That's like me, so new world record for PvZ viewership, aside from obviously the big names. Konga Zombie, this thing. You should arguably save it, because there might be some lethal that you get later that might be considerable for that, so. Yeah, don't make this misrepresent that I don't enjoy the game, of how pissed I've been throughout this experience of trying to ladder and do this permadeath challenge. It doesn't mean the game is bad, but it means that, I don't know, it's just not exactly what I was expecting to have to go through with it. And it is especially demeaning that you have to deal with, now maybe I should have done it in like no, it doesn't seem like they had anything for it, so they're just gonna let it die. But so many of these freeze decks can be annoying as hell for the stupid ass rows. So very close to lethal here. I shouldn't have to worry about anything else, and so now you just get them low enough. They wouldn't expect me to necessarily have even that much damage. But even if you get in the 5 there, it's already over. This card is going to be consistently what's winning me games, because it is a much higher amount of damage than you typically get from a trick. Now I'm going to get freeze locked into oblivion, and this is the kind of shit that I can't deal with, because what you have is a simple ability to not really do anything about that. I would have to almost do it to there, assuming that he's going to freeze this anyway. I already know it. Like, everybody loves that card. Okay, dude. Okay, I don't even have enough brains to do it. That was a low brain IQ play, I guess. So all I would have to do is 2 damage. It's a very hard thing to get through my head, I guess, though. I won't do that because I'm trying to do the... Trying to do the rocket damage, but they just won't let me do it. They'll heal or some shit now. I've never seen like a real one side to the other cowboy, at least from my perspective. Right, where you really would get like 15 damage in, but you still wouldn't, because they'll get the block meter somewhere in between. You gotta have a card that gives them bullseye or some shit. There's some combo that people do with it, but... Even the music is like getting impatient, dude. Just Rose, hurry your bitch ass up. Fuck. Okay, even that still doesn't matter. You have to get to the point where you have the fate to do this shit. And if you do it, then it should be enough to kill you, but it won't. Bro, come on, man. It could actually be better though, too, or it was like the same. When a plant trick is played, I don't even give a shit. Like, it's sort of showing my hand a little bit too early, but I'm just going for it. Like, if I can't do it, I can't do it, man. It's so fucking dumb. You might have it just with that alone, like if they can't deal with this, but I don't care. Like, how are you able to always deal with this shit is what I always ask my opponents. Like, they always have an answer, like every single time. They can never just not have an answer one turn. So even next turn, if they don't have a removal for that, we could win, but it's just not going to happen. Or I'll just die even before it happens. Like, they could still do this. I don't know. That could still be fine, or it's gonna be something with bullseye that would fuck you over. Okay. The healing is obviously very annoying, which I shouldn't be too surprised by, but when does the face appear on that? Like, it's very seldom. I mean, that's still an okay play considering the fact that I had the brains to do it anyway. You'll pop the block meter, and I don't know what kind of other on-demand damage I have, but this would be the last. I mean, they don't even have a fucking block meter left. Like, this shows you what a clown Rose is. That you'll make me actually last this long, and I have to go through all this. If I just had some direct damage, that would have done it, man. Like, I don't know what you want. It's so fucking idiotic, man. Even that would still kill you now, because if it kills this, then you take one, but you're gonna have like a million different fucking ways to deal with this. Like, what you realize with this is, like, it's mathematically objectively impossible for me to beat this, because you just can't do anything. Like, they would have a million other ways to heal and remove stuff. Like, it's just not possible. You think, like, okay, maybe they'll get unlucky one turn and not draw exactly the card that they need the entire fucking game, but they have exactly what they need all the time for every situation, so there's nothing you can do. Like, it's incredible. I don't know if that's like the actual best heal mid Rose, whatever the fuck that people always talk about, but it's clearly just bullshit because I can't deal with that. Like, I would love to see that. Like, run that deck that I'm using a million times through a simulation with that deck, and even though I got them to 2, you'll never win, like, even one of them, because it's just like, it seems like you have a chance, but you really don't. There's nothing you can do. They'll have an answer for everything you try to do. Clearly not a bot name over here, so we're just gonna farm bots all day, but we can't match up against them consistently enough over here. I will Berry Blast this to face. I don't care. -1, -1. Yeah, see, this is why I don't like this card, though, because it never kills anything. Well, look at what you had to do to get rid of a fucking 1 mana 2/2. Not really very efficient value. Hydro Mushroom. Okay, hurry up. Okay, so what you need... Sometimes you can get a 0 cost one, so you should actually wait when you do that. Make a 1/1 with team up. That's usually not that bad value of a card, considering the fact that it's like you know what you could even do is you could keep this alive for what that's worth, rather than... That maybe wasn't a good play, especially considering the aggro mentality of this, but it would have kept them both alive then. And you would have, you know, this along with Bad Moon Rising gives you the indication of almost like an evolution type of deck where you want to see as many random transformations as possible. Right, I don't know how many other cards really do that, but you have the one for plants, like the Mole Kale, which is kind of annoying, but it is very good, and so we can ignore this for now. I do like what we've done here, how we kept that alive. +2/+2 when it destroys the plant. Yeah, this sort of bugs out where, like, when something dies, it'll stay ahead of it somehow, like... Okay, so what you have here is the fact that they're still too high on HP. They still have too many cards, so you can sometimes get a trick surprise play like with that, but other than that, we have a lot of trouble dealing with this here. I should almost just ignore it, but actually pretty good value, though, considering the fact that, you know, it's like a 2 mana, 3 mana, 4/6. Not too bad. You'll do that. Okay. I mean, there's just not... I can't deal with this level of removal that we're seeing, that people always seem to have. I mean, even that is very cute. The problem is the block meter is still gonna fuck me over. Or I can't even do it yet. Not going to matter because I couldn't have, if I had done it to there and done that, then that would have still been alive. Like I wouldn't have had an answer. So not even really doing that for BM, but it is so weird how these games are going. This one at least felt more like there was really nothing I could do about it, but okay, that we lose. Obviously the bullseye. Yeah, that flag guy's animation almost seems to have a delay to it. After the flag hits, it takes a few seconds for it to actually register that it's done the damage. Play 3 nuts. Okay, we get combustible. Let's just do the Yeti and then I'll just stop, I guess, or something. Or like, let's go back to where we were, maybe. I just can't win enough games consistently. That's all it is. And so I don't know what's going to really change with that. You could argue that, oh, I should play as just the same one over and over. That is the best of what I have. Although it'd be hard for me to even say what the best I have is. Combustible tends to do the best. Right, and I would assume that the Smash, the Yeti, and Green Shadow and Wall Knight would probably be bad now. Not because they don't have good cards, but because they're not good enough, right? It's more important to be really good at that stage because you're going to drag the game out for too long and give them too many chances. Whereas with these other decks, like Solar Flare is aggro, Combustible is aggro, Infinity is aggro, and so you can get away with the fact that or even Super Brains is mid-range kind of too. You can get away with it because of the simple fact that it doesn't matter if your cards are the best or not because you're just rushing them down, and if it works, it works. So that can work even against the best decks. What isn't going to work is, oh, Wall Knight's going to play really slow and get to turn 10, 12 every game and not really fucking do anything because I don't have like a big late game play to do, so it ends up being a waste. That thing sort of bugs out a little bit. Yeah, Rose is really like one of my trigger points in a card game, arguably. Like, you know, oh, it's gonna be very slow and annoying and fucking bullshit with respect to that was almost a bad sequence though, because like, why would you want that guy in front? The whole point would be to put the 1/1 in front. I mean, I'm not really trying to play this aggro style, so I don't know. Yeah, let's combine this game with Adventure Quest and make like that kind of turn-based open world single player RPG experience in lieu of getting an MMO. It's hard to define what genre that game really even is. Right? It's very weird in the context of, it feels like a single player MMO, but it's just, I don't know, it's very, defies description. You could do this and flip something back. I am trying to play for the... Oh, I fucked up again. I'm trying to play for the board, but it's not going to matter because I don't even have Bad Moon Rising here, so what's the point? Like, I'm not going to win on the board, clearly, because they're going to have way too many answers and options. Yeah, even if I was to ever lift the no crafting element to this series, it would be only after completing this challenge. Like, my reward is that I get to do that, which I won't even necessarily say that. I don't know if I want to do that or not. I could bounce this guy if he gets out of hand, but more to the point, I want to do this. And you can go ahead and buff it as much as you want. Look at this. This is a fucking... What was that one video? The Ligma Doctor versus somebody else in the Wild West. And it was like some showdown between two Fiverr fucking freelancers. But no, it's like, this is the most, I don't know, I don't want to make a TOS joke or something. Something to do with medical science joke. Insert joke here. So the whole point is I could flip that back to the hand because I'm clearly going to be unable to deal with that. And so that could be useful later on. You could flip all that back, which is cute, but I mean... you may as well just do this because you know it's not gonna. If I was to play something bigger there, you know, first of all, it's just gonna die, but you know it's not even gonna stay there. They're gonna have removal. Okay, dude. You might underestimate how absolutely broken this card is. Like, every deck in the whole game should have that card in it that can use it, because it's like, there's not fuck all you can do about it. But this will at least guarantee something, because what you can do is you'll probably get the heal here, except you probably won't, because they'll probably have some removal for it. But then I can freeze the shit here. My only hope is actually getting a lot of healing, because if I don't, then I can't do anything, because okay, but even then the healing should save me. And in fact, that was quite a good, efficient trade for me, right? Because his positioning wouldn't have been exactly right. Bounce a random plan, which means it could be the brain, which means he could do it again, which would have been annoying, but there's nothing I can do. You could do this and bounce that. So the issue is that really worth it? And the answer is probably not. I guess what you conjure from this could be a game changer. I don't really care too much about the other Yeti thing, or the Gargantuar. If it has like some healing to it. All zombies get +2/+2. What I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to bounce that. So I don't think I made a very good choice there, but we're gonna bounce that, even though it seems dumb, but I don't have a choice. And then we're going to freeze everything on the ground. You might say, why not just play this here? But then I'll still die to that, so... Or, okay, dude, okay. Brain drain is a good thing. Well, not for me. Okay, so that's obviously the Yeti. So what do we got left? Let's just do... Walnut, Smash. What did we start off on? We basically started off with the... Let's just do a couple more. Or whatever. I'll go till I lose one more, which will be this one, clearly. It's very discouraging, though, because it seems like... Okay, I mean, these hands are getting fucking annoying, too. Really, the last couple episodes I've been screwed on the mulligan way more than typically. But no, Walnut has a lot of issues because he's like... He's not really able to do anything, right? I can guarantee that I'm going to survive and last for a certain amount of time, but I cannot guarantee that... that'll do me any good, really. This would be good to get rid of that, because it evidently seems like I won't be able to do it any other way. And so, of course, Conjuration is sort of a busted mechanic, or I'll just do it here, because I just can't deal with it. And so, that must be strong enough at least to survive the vines, otherwise he wouldn't have done it. Bounce a... Oh, how convenient. How convenient. A card that we've almost, like, never seen in the history of the game. You could move this shit around too. Bounce a plan, not really that big of a deal. And so what you have is the ability to let's see, that was still pretty efficient. Ironic, he could save others from environments, but not himself, even though he did just save himself the turn before. This is good for later. You could do like this and this. 3 or less. This can sometimes be really good, like with Starch Lord or something, and it implies they would even let you choose if they have, like, well, I'm thinking like as if they have team up, but they don't. Or Starch Lord, obviously I'm thinking from the wrong perspective, but and those animations always feel so out of place when you're not even playing as that particular hero. You got the strike through number 1. You got the heals to full. I don't know if I should give a shit really about that. It won't kill it, so I don't know what to do. But that seems like a dumb play for this kind of deck when my whole purpose is to... Well, the same thing would have happened if it was on the environment, so I guess... Well, since he was that annoying with it, now I will do this despite my reluctance. Or it might even be worth it to do that if it also destroyed gravestones. No reason to do that, so he's down to 4 cards despite all the incredible value that he's gotten from the gourmet stuff at the beginning. So I'm actually generally happy with this moment, but here's the problem is I don't have like a big play that I can make, right? This is what Wall Knight lacks, is like a big... The only thing I can think of is like Cornucopia that you would feel like, why would you even do that when you could have killed it for free? Like, the guy is just styling on me. It may have a certain validity to do this, except for the fact that I don't actually have... Like, I have nothing to lose from it. It's just... It's still an efficient play because I have nothing else really going on. Right? Even if I wish I could have done that. Okay, bounce your own environment back. Bounce the plant back again. I kind of like what this guy is doing, though, with this theme. Like, he's so committed to that I can't really complain that, oh, I don't typically see that guy. So we can use the ice block now, and then we'll get saved potentially by the block meter again. But I don't see the win condition that we have, and we would need a heal especially. And so he's going all in. We'll deal at least with the left side of the board here, but I need a heal, and I don't know how to get it, or we'll get it from the block meter itself, which it doesn't really matter for now. We've sort of outlasted them a little bit, so if I just had some big heal coming, it would be very good, right? Because we have only 2 things left there. And so you have the ability to... I wish it would... No, I mean, you don't really want it to. Like, I wish it would trigger the block meter despite... We could get rid of those 2, but it's not going to be enough if I do that, so... He's going to have another way to deal with that, like... Like, I guess I thought what I would do is I would have 1 left over if I had done that, then I could move this around, but... it doesn't matter if that survives. It matters if he has something else. Like, is it possible in the game for somebody to run out of stuff? Like, is that just a possibility in the game? Because it doesn't feel like it ever happens. That's my issue with this game, actually. They have an infinite amount of value that you just can't do anything about. And so it makes it impossible to actually win. Like, I'll do this. Like, oh my goodness, I'm going to commit to the fact that I don't think he has anything else, but he will, so I'm fucked, so forget it. Like, okay, go here, go here. I could still get saved by the block meter itself. You might question that play a little bit, but like, I don't want to play stuff in the same lane, I want to spread it out. So now I could still win, despite the fact that, you know, I'm so low on health because of the simple fact that they have so little out there. But their block meter itself is going to be annoying as fuck. So I'm getting exactly the moment that I dream of, which is, you know, where they actually burn out of cards, but it's probably not going to last too long. And so let's actually do that for Amphibious too. Which one seems like the weakest link? Probably that. You can move shit around, so I may actually win this, which seems utterly unbelievable. But again, they finally did what I was practically begging for. I guess if you bitch about it enough, that they actually, for 2 turns in a row, they actually burn out of cards. Now, how likely is that outcome for Wall Knight to do? We're like, oh, you know, you're going to outlast them. It's never going to happen for me because of the simple fact that my deck's just not quite good enough. So I got actually quite lucky there, and I was sort of shocked by it. Okay, I'll give this a little more time, but like you got to think about it mathematically. Like if I win 3 in a row, then I lose 1, then I win 3 in a row, something like that. That would be enough to get 1 rank. And then I could lose 20 in a row once I get to 32, and I wouldn't care because then you don't lose the rank. So that's all you have to do is sort of game the system, but I can't even do that because it's so frustrating. It's just not quite good enough. You do have a 2, 3, 4, pretty good curve, fine. That is one of my great dogmas in card games, and generally it works pretty well for me. Is like you keep, well, it shows you like a lack of confidence in your deck, so it's something I do like in arena modes, like draft modes and stuff too. But it's okay to keep a 4 cost in your starting hand, and you might say, oh, you shouldn't do that, but it tends to work out pretty well because, you know, you might mulligan it and get something higher. So that's always my logic, and people always debate that in Hearthstone, but it served me pretty well in arenas at least. Although in this game it makes less sense because, again, the game doesn't have a lot of high cost cards, and I certainly don't have a lot of high cost cards myself. In terms of, you know, you should effectively spread it out because I don't really care about killing that as much as I care about, you know, just making sure I'm safe from every lane. And so, and yeah, see, is that always like a bugged interaction? Like he's showing he's using it in this lane, but it doesn't matter. Like it's just a general effect, but sometimes it'll make it seem like you're using it on this lane. We have the Disco Nut, which is not really even what I want to play right now, but we do have the Loco Coco, which I've never really gotten much opportunity to use here. Conjure Mustache. So this is gonna kill it right away. I mean, you could do this, but I don't know why. Oh, no, I should do it like, well, I'll just do it, but I'm not really too happy about it. I can always move it somewhere else and I can give it attack, but we're not going to kill this even still. And so maybe I'll let it trade sort of next turn. This can have such an amazing effect on the game, but they can obviously just use removal on it that is easy to come by. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You can do 3 and a 4 and a 5. I don't really even care about this lane. Like, I should just ignore it. You go here. And so what happens now is you're able to let that trade in, and that'd still be good. This will be killed easily. This will not be killed. I'm just narrating what is obvious that anybody with eyes can see, but you know, it is unfortunate the way this is gone because so many things about this game are like, this game is so easy and it's so casual compared to other card games at least, but it doesn't matter sometimes, right? Like you just don't have exactly what you need for the situation, so what are you supposed to do? Right, some of these matchups are just completely fucked up. Like I can't do anything. This one seems okay, but I don't know what all else he has. This would be good because you would always get right, you would get the ability to like, will it buff them in the same sequence? Like, it probably will, right? It'll make the walnuts and it'll buff them all at once. At least I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that is a pretty impactful play still. Of course, he gets bumped down to the 2-5. Strike through, freeze all plans. Like, it was a good, impactful play, but if that's like the best card in my deck, the highest cost card in my deck, it's not really that good. It's okay. Of course, you get the value from that. Just infinite value, dude. Unlimited value for everybody besides me. It's just like a theme in so many of these games. Like, I cannot stop them from doing that. You do this, or you could do both of these. The conjuration that I have is kind of cute as well. I don't know if that would be worth doing right now. It's not like they're in danger of dying. If only I could do that. Let's wait a turn and then... Let's wait a turn and then we can combo it together with something like that. Somebody was playing me like a friend duel and they had like 4 of these out there at once. I forget how they even did it. Right? They kept copying it. So that became fucking insane. Where now it's close enough to dying where I won't even care about that, but it might throw them off. Right, that they'll not expect to die, or I guess I should have known that was gonna happen anyway. So this is probably worth it. They're pretty low. See, that could have fucked them over. Maybe if that stuck around, they could have healed it and kept it around, and that would have saved them. Assuming that they're even gonna lose here. You can do 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, the strike through damage is going to get through no matter what, so that's not an issue. This will be strike through as well. That's from a plan in a random plan. That could potentially do something for me later. I mean, they're almost... In fact, they would die if they just... Once again, the block meter issue. But it will trigger, I'm sure. But it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to trigger. Well, it wouldn't have mattered there, but now even the next chance I get. So I still would have some vague chance of winning, but I just don't have it. Look at this situation, man. I mean, I can obviously do this. I'm not even worried about it, but it's just a question of, do I have a play that I can actually make that could potentially win me the game? Because I don't see what it is. You can try to kill, like, let's just play like a normal turn. Not even worried about the transform effect, although that could have potentially won me the game. Like, I'm filling up the board despite already, you know, doing the block, the invincibility. It was almost a waste, but all I would need is, a simple ability to, that'll kill the guy. Or wait. Oh, I didn't even, oh shit. Oh shit, I didn't even realize myself what I just did there. I forgot that hits the face too. Oh shit. It hits the face and with bullseye. Obviously, so that actually, I wasn't even expecting that to win. Especially not that turn. Okay, I will admit that, but how do I know, right? Like, well, I guess you might say he would remove it, but even if he removed it, that would have still happened. So, okay, dude, if that's the kind of shit that it's gonna take, I will gladly accept it. This is what I mean. You mulligan this shit. I don't even mind keeping that, but in this scenario, I shouldn't. Okay, like, I can accept that win, but if this is what it's gonna take for me to win, there was no way for me to know for sure that was going to happen exactly that way, but I do like that effect, so I have to remember that it hits the face too. Like, how often has that ever happened in the history of me playing this game, where that would be the lethal damage? And if that didn't happen, then obviously I had no other way of winning. So I had even basically given up, but this is why you never resign, because you're too much of a clown to see your own win condition, and I'm certainly going to lose this one right back. I mean, look, dude. There's something I have to get from the... Something that I get from the actual... conjuration has to be very good here, but I just started off way too slow with this shit. Like, I have 3 walnuts, 3 water chestnut, 3 spine apples, all these low-cost cards, and I couldn't get any of them. Now he's gonna have this little stupid ass mechanic here. Alright, this is at least good. Plus one when another professional gets hurt. It's still not the end of the world, but what you have is really I need a bunch of low cost stuff that I just simply do not have. Okay, dude. The fact that you obviously have team up kind of fucks you over there too. I do like the fact that their hand seems to be drying up a bit, but I'm still in a very dangerous spot. I maybe shouldn't underestimate. In his last moment, he shows you who he really is. Like the heal and the invincibility and stuff can be good, but I don't have like anything going right now. Just like anything I can fucking play, period. Yeah, I don't get what's really happening because... Come on, the effect should still work because... So that thing that's amphibious is going to be invincible the whole fucking game. Octopet, not a very inspired name. What does it even have to do with a zombie? It doesn't even look like a zombie. It just looks like an octopus that looks a little derpy. So now we could get saved by the block meter multiple times over. That doesn't really matter too much. Right, if I get the little ice block shit over here. So the amphibious I cannot do shit about. So I'll have to block that with the block meter itself. If I get a heal, that still won't be much of a help. Actually, it might be. I'll have 7 health. We're playing with 2 or less. Okay, now we need the heal or the other invincibility. That was at least a potentially competitive game because of how long we lasted, but they got off to a little bit too good of a start. Okay, that will help me for now. Yeah, that last one was pretty fucking clutch, but this is what it's going to take every single fucking time. I just can't deal with the amphibious. Like, maybe this deck just doesn't have a way to deal with that. Or maybe this would make it in there, even if... Okay. I don't always win, but when I do, I don't even realize that I'm about to, but... That game was kind of fucked up. Like, it's just not fucking viable. Alright, let's do this as the last one. Is going to be the smash. I'll just go till I lose as a smash. I mean, I am going to try this the rest of the thing. It's only like 2 more weeks, but it's sort of a good callback to stuff I would do in the past, but kind of the wrong way that, like, you know, I wouldn't have a fixed schedule. So whatever, if I would get immersed in something like a hard mode or something, I would just do it like every single day or all day or whatever. And I had no like formal schedule, right, with like a fixed series. It would be more like a category thing. Like I would do a story game one day, a hard mode one day, something like that, and alternate. But, or like a hard mode hangover is what I would call it, where like I would go over, I'd be so invested in a hard mode. I'm fine with that. I'd be so invested in a hard mode that I would do it the next day, even if it wasn't meant to be part of my schedule. So it makes me almost want to do that, but I also was enjoying having a fixed schedule. So, or sometimes I could have the best of both worlds. If I really had extra time, I would be able to do both. Like I'd have a fixed schedule, but then I would also have extra time to do something bonus like this anyway. Like if I really have to commit extra time to something, basically. Average dumb American who can't even fucking make a turn 1 player. Average Kamala Harris voter. I love that whole narrative about like, oh, Trump voters are uneducated, but then look at what we get on the other side. Oh, Joe Biden, like he's really the elitist, condescending, intelligent choice. Like, if you're gonna turn your nose at people and try to act all superior, at least pick a better, you know, pragmatic candidate like Obama or somebody who at least seems good on the surface level, even if he's still a clown. Make a 1/1 plant, which I don't even give a shit about. That'll just help me farm up my block meter, so that's clearly you know, epic card that you would normally have in a fucking course of your regular deck, like some of the shit that I have, a 4-mana 4/4 with no effect. That stupid drum major guy. This would actually destroy one of, oh no, not one of their beans, one of their nuts or berries. Let's just do this. You are trying to play on the board, so it would be... I always love the cosmic appearances of these cards, but people always say they're generally pretty bad. Just most of the cosmic set overall. Looks pretty fucking sick, though, for a 2-cost, not even legendary or anything. Yeah, a lot of people have been using that, which doesn't even bother me too much. Lima Plurdon. Let me see what I can do here. It is going, you know, that's kind of worth it, I guess. Just a lot of the time I'm tempted to just do stuff as soon as I get it, because the pace of this game can be so insane that why don't we just do this in like the little frenzy or something, or even that would be okay. Now what you have is, I don't care about the 1/1. I don't even care too much about that. The effect could be maybe a little bit problematic, but okay, that doesn't matter because he's not playing anything there, I assume. If he does, I could have still done that. Okay, so the frenzy will be good. You'll kill it. You'll stay alive. This is a little bit annoying, but I like this effect, but it can sometimes come at a cost that, like, what I'm playing it over is not exactly what I want. You know what I mean? I don't want to get rid of something to do it. I could do it here, get rid of that. The Torchwood itself is a little annoying. This is kind of cute. You may, or you know what, you could do it like this too, but do either or. I kind of like the hunt better though, actually, in this situation. That's good, but then you can still play something behind the Torchwood, but then I guess it would at least hunt it back as well. And so now you, okay, that can be really fucking annoying. And it won't even trade in, and it won't even, well, I guess the Starfruit won't even kill anything though else. So that's a little bit lucky, but I don't know how I can deal with it either. Well, you could bounce this and give me the chance to kill it, so that could have been a massive misplay, because I'm even panicking. How do I get rid of the Starfruit? It's the Starfruit, and you've had your 5. So you go, even here is better. Just... it's almost good to play around stuff like this a little bit, because what you get is, you get the, you know this isn't going to be a threat unless they do team up or something. So, like, you deliberately ignore that lane and just ghost it because you know it's not going to be an issue. So you just, you're worried about other threats that they're going to summon in other lanes. So, and it is helping me farm up my block meter too. This game hasn't actually been too bad, but it's just the pace is going to favor them because they're going to have some top end crazy value, even though they're only a fucking rank 15. We're playing with 4 or less. I mean, that still seems more like a priority, even though you could say I would have saved myself the 2 damage. I don't know what to do about any of this shit. He's gonna do 3 there anyway, so I'm pretty much dead. He could just summon something here. I have no block meter left, so I'm fucked. So, like, why would you even play it there when you're threatening lethal? Rank 15 plays. I'm sure they have something anyway, but... or you could say, oh, it's BM, but you wouldn't take the chance of BM if you're doing exactly the thing you shouldn't do, because you're playing on the board like I would do. But what is the point? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can't deal with amphibious in a lot of these decks. I guess I just don't have too many amphibious minions anymore. So they still barely have lethal, but they would have had more than enough if they just played that a little better. Like, they're worried about the football guy, but why do they even have to worry if they... You know, okay, who do we got left? We got... Wall Knight, that. So we got Green Shadow and... let's do up to that point. Let's do Green Shadow and Badman Rising, and then I'm done. So, again, it's not that we haven't won a couple games, but I cannot get on any sort of streak. Even if there were win streaks, I'm having trouble doing that, but now we're getting all these easy matchups, too. Green Shadow can be very dangerous if I get in a good groove with them, but it's just not exactly... I swear these mulligans have been fucked lately. I don't know why. Maybe I'm overdoing it and I should just settle for what I have. You can at least get the Leafy synergy from one of those to the other, but it doesn't make sense because I don't have anything I can play here. Gargantuars cost 2 less. I don't know to what extent that's really going to help him. Right, if he's really going to have one that he can play in time. I'd be okay with doing this. Let's see what he does. I would want to get rid of that, though, just in case it's going to be the perfect synergy. Overshoot. I'd love for this to survive so that I'm able to do it in such a way that... Okay. So that I would have been able to get the Leafy synergy, which of course I can't do. Okay, in a way that doesn't bother me too much because it is going to get bounced back, which can be pretty bad value at times just because, you know, now you have to keep replaying it. It's better with the Cosmic one because then at least you're getting something better out of it. An environment, each turn does damage. Okay. Wasn't even really necessary to do that because we would have still traded in, but let's see what we can do. Don't summon a Gargantuar, which they're all going to be like 5+ anyway. Okay, even do that. I'm wasting too much shit on that when it's already frozen. That's a total waste, but I just obviously can't do this anyway. Okay, that one moves anyway, so I should maybe see what else they summon. Move this over there. This thing should stay the same. And so now you're able to trade in pretty well. The overshoot is so annoying. But no, I keep getting too low. Or like even if I had a chance to win and outlast them. Like how is this guy rank 7 even? Like what the fuck, man? Okay, we'll just do Badman Rising guy. Fucking Super Brains Clown. Whoops. Then we'd have like Solar Flare and Infinity to start, kind of like how we did this time. Yeah, just win me 5 in a row and I'll feel at least a little bit validated for doing this, but it's just not going to happen. You got a 2. I'll keep the 6 even. I don't care. Yeah, now all I want is we get on a good curve and we get Badman Rising. And then if you still win, I don't mind. But why is it so hard for me to do that? Like really, just on turn 2, play a 2 cost. On turn 3, play a 3 cost. Just like that. All the way up till turn 7. And if you do that, you'll be very likely to get a good Badman Rising pull. But then I won't get Badman Rising when that happens. What is with everybody taking so long on the first couple turns, too? Like, is it really this fucking serious? I guess I should take it more seriously, too. Sometimes I do make moves way too fast. Because, to be fair, most of them are pretty obvious, or at least given what I have. Like, you know, I'm just going to play the 3 cost on turn 3. Like, what else is there to think about? Go ahead, disconnect, bro. Fucking... Is it really that complicated of a turn 2 play? If they have all 2 cost cards, then they're debating which is the best one to do. Okay, we should get Bad Moon Rising so we have a clear thing to play for. And that is just try to win on the board, try to keep some board control, and just hope they go fucking AFK, I guess, which they seem to be doing. Okay, so we're just gonna win this because they're just not even there. Their bot batteries are malfunctioning. That's one thing I'll say is even if this game does have a lot of bots, the bots are pretty hard to beat still, or they still feel pretty fun to play against because somehow, I don't know, it's not like Hearthstone bots can be so fucking stale and boring, right? So just because they're bots doesn't mean they can't potentially be good. Give them really good cards, give them a little better AI. So they could just be doing that somehow because they're a tryhard and they're actually thinking that hard about their player, they're trolling. But it could also be the simple fact that you have, it could be the simple fact that they're actually AFK, but I don't know. They'll have like some super top heavy deck that can deal with this easily. The best Bad Moon Rising ever that we get is going to be because of the stupid ass, just because somebody's AFK. Like, how long can they do this before they disconnect or something automatically? So we'll have kind of a slow turn next turn, and then we'll have the ability to do Bad Moon Rising itself, or I mean the 6 cost and then that. It doesn't even bother me. Like, I'd rather have this than a typical game, but I'd rather you just disconnect at the beginning if you're gonna do this too. But this will tell you right there whether they're AFK or not. Or they could always just suddenly come back, but they just seem genuinely AFK. It doesn't really seem like it penalizes them that much for roping, basically, because they get to, these are the kind of, this is our average win right here, where they just fucking aren't even there. They'll still come back and still beat me just to show how shitty my decks are or something. And I'll still get cucked from seeing the Bad Moon Rising thing, even if I want to, because, you know, you don't get to actually play the thing here. Alright, bro, alright, fucking... Uzami does bonus attack. But that was actually a bad idea, because now I won't be able to play. Or fuck it, I'll do it again. A little OTK combo, bro thinks he's a cowboy. Or wait, why wasn't some sort of block meter triggering there, though? They don't all have bullseye. That almost seemed like a bug. Okay, so that's a great start to get off to. If only we could take advantage of a win streak on top of this if we win. You know, obviously one more. I'll just go till Super Brain loses or till I get to 32 or maybe even further then. It's not that I can't do this. It's just that... It's that you basically, again, it's hard to do it so many in a row like that. Okay, the brain vendor has been really good, and of course here we have a simple incentive to try to, again, play on the board and trade and everything like that. And so if you can do that, you'll be in very good shape. Yeah, I kind of don't like the way this has been going. It just doesn't feel exactly right. There's still some vague chance I could do it, but it's not quite what I was expecting. The problem is I can't do anything with that either. Like I don't want to ignore it, but I also don't want to waste my shit going at it. It already feels encouraging because, oh, look, their hand only has 3 cards, and if they don't generate a whole bunch of shit, I'll be fine with it, but this is not what happens. It ends up being so fucking annoying. I don't even care about the trick thing so much. It's not that big of a deal. Move a zombie, does a bonus attack. It'll come down to, oh, if I could have played this for 7, I would have won, but I mean, you may as well, but I don't want to buff that fucker either. Right, but I also don't want this just guy to die for no good reason. That's okay. I don't care too much about this, but I need just a couple better things to play. This is good. So I guess I'll ignore it here, even as bad as that seems, because it feels like, yes, I'm trying to stay alive and play on the board and play defensively, but what's the point if you're just going to keep getting destroyed there? You'll move this here, or I'm surprised you even did that. I thought you would move this, but I guess you'll trade in pretty favorably anyway. Okay, what a great turn that is. Like, what the fuck, man? And again, we're setting up for an excellent Badman Rising, but the only thing I can get maybe that would be good is Brain Vendor. Like, how was I able to get from 30 to 31 anyway? Like, it was difficult, but now I, like, whatever I did to get from 30 to 31 would apply to get from 31 to 32 or anything up to 50, right? You would just have to basically look at it like, you know, you kind of go back and forth for a little bit and then you break through, but I just haven't been able to do that. Yeah, now we get to play Badman Rising, except I still don't. I guess I'm still not dead, but I don't really get it. Or like, why not just even do that then? Yeah, too many times I'm just too low. Like, where even if I can outlast them a little bit, it doesn't actually work because... Right, like, even if I had outlasted them a little bit, I'm just way too low. They could easily finish me off. So we're still at 31, so we're kind of seeing this fall apart before my eyes because, again, at any reasonable pace, let's say you have about 13 days left, even if I get 2 ranks every day, I could do it, but I can't even get 1 rank every day or just anything, so I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll try to build the deck a little bit differently. I'll just make, like, different decks with each character, which again, they won't be that different, so they might even be worse, but it doesn't matter because I'm not winning consistently enough anyway. Okay, see you tomorrow.